I think James Wong is going to come up here and sit with me, and we're going to do a little conversation Q&A. And James is an incredible branding and marketing expert. And so I really want to bring him up here and talk about branding yourselves, branding your companies, branding who you are, bringing your business to the next level, ladies and gentlemen. You guys ready for this? Can I get a big hoorah? Stanley, I didn't hear you. Can I get a big hoorah? All right, James, come on up here, brother. Thank you. Everybody give this guy a round of applause, man. All the way from California, ladies and gentlemen. He flew down here to do this with us. So the weather's just a little bit different here.
Yeah, last night I was like sweating so much. I was wondering, I was like, dude, David, you gotta get me a t-shirt or something.
You guys are not used to that over there.
Not at all, no.
And then we're running around here in suits like crazy people.
I was surprised.
So, first of all, if you can, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your brand, your company, so that they understand where your expertise is coming from.
Yeah, so I started, I run a real estate marketing agency, working with the top 40 brokerages. I started 6 years ago, and my career's been in real estate marketing. I've had the chance to work with over 150 top producing agents and teams, helping them build their brand. Coming from LA, where there's 13,000 agents in just LA County, 22,000 in Orange County, San Diego. The question was, what makes you different? Right. Why does someone choose you to list their house over another person? Why do you get to the buyer agreement versus another person? And I had the chance to work with all these top producers, and I pretty much learned from them. And then I decided, well, I'm gonna just take everything that they have showed us, or showed me, and turn it into a service. And then we've been running it ever since. Nice.
So it's funny that you say that. There's like, what, how many in LA County?
There's 13,000.
And then how many in Orange?
22,000.
So Miami-Dade County and Miami and Broward, in our Miami Real Estate Association, has over 50,000 agents in it.
So crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want you to just give one solid tip right now that we can lead off from on branding yourself and standing out. Tip one.
Tip number one is branding and marketing. First of all, you have to know what branding is. And I'll give you guys my definition. I don't know if you guys heard it on our live, but branding is an extraordinary commitment to creating a remarkable conversation. It's a conversation, like real talk is a conversation that we have. Marketing is an extraordinary commitment to promoting that remarkable conversation. And so the first thing you want to do, the first tip is, if you're competing in Miami with 50,000 agents, what is the story? Now, then you have to focus it on, are you a broker and your story is catered to attracting realtors? Or are you a listing agent and your story is attracting sellers? What about your story really resonates? And so that's the first thing, is you got to figure out why what is that story? What is that conversation? If you don't have that, it's almost like you're building a house without a foundation.
Right.
You got nothing to stand on because you don't stand for anything.
Right. And so basically, if we had to like crazy dumb this down,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're basically saying know who you are and then project that.
Yeah. But then, so here's like an actual how to do it. You pick the top 7 agents that you really are inspired by, that you like to role model. And you do a competitive analysis. And the way that works is you look at everything they've ever published, what their postcards look like, what their emails, newsletters look like, their social media posts, their blogs, their video marketing, if they have a podcast. Look at everything they've done and say, okay, so this guy talks about the market. This guy is really focused on luxury. This guy's focused on telling his story. This guy's focused on agents that are successful at his brokerage. You look at everything they're doing and you pick what you like about what they're doing and their story, and then you try to merge it into your own story and relate it to yourself. If you wanted like an exact how to create a story.
Right.
So
I want to talk to everybody about that too, because think about who your most favorite celebrity is, or think about, later on today we're going to have Josh and Matt Altman on the stage, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Give that a round of applause, right? And so when you think about, if you're a fan of Josh Altman, which I hope we all are because we're all here to see him, right? you know a little bit about him, and one thing that I found was that people would actually come up to Josh and say, hey, so how's your daughter doing? I heard she was sick. How the hell did you hear she was sick, dude? Like, you're in Miami, the guy's in LA, that's his private life. He must have posted it. It must have been on the show. Something would have happened, right? That brought his story to your eyes. So when you think about that, you don't need to be on Bravo TV in order to resonate and project your story. Have a story about yourself, know who you are. Whatever story you want to project, you can tell it. That's the beauty of this, right? Like, whatever story that someone chooses to project, they will in return get the clients that resonate with that story.
Yeah. You know, one thing to add too that I feel like is never specified, in marketing, online especially, there's two types of marketing. There's brand awareness, where you're just building your story, building who you are, and you're growing organically. Someone finds out about you, they DM you, they say, hey, I would love for you to list my house. I think I love what you're doing. That's organic, which is what I would say 80% of realtors are trying to do, or they want to get into, which is just building their organic leads online. Then there's the whole other science of lead gen, which we've got guys like Wailopa, we've got guys like Mike coming on stage to talk about those things.
Right.
That's a whole different animal, and you guys have to be successful, you want to be doing both.
Yeah.
Building that brand story that creates organic social validity, and then the second side is building conversion tools and systems that actually lead gen.
And bringing a brand to the table that's so strong that no one questions who you are or what you stand for, right? Like, everyone knows the Starbucks Mermaid. Everyone knows the Nike swoosh.
Equinox.
Right? Equinox and other name brands that you can see the logo without seeing the name and know exactly who they are and what they stand for.
Right.
And so a part of branding, I think, and I'm sure you'll agree, is getting out who you are and what you stand for at a very high level. Right?
So the thing that people don't realize when they ask how do you brand, or like what does branding look like, it's what David said, knowing who you are, your story that you're trying to tell, then it's everything else that's online has to happen on media. It has to happen on media, meaning it has to happen in the photos you take, it has to happen in the videos you shoot on your iPhone, or if it's professional, it has to happen in the stories you tell, the blogs you write, the posts, if you do a podcast. The story of who you are happens in media. You have to actively create media. Like, David's gonna take all the content, everything that happened in this event, and turn it into media. That's how he's continued to build this brand, because there's no other way to reach an audience without media. So if you want to get into branding, you have to know who you are, and then you have to figure out ways to showcase who you are.
To market that.
To market who you are with media.
And you brought up something really interesting. There are so many ways to market yourself now, right? There's video, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Pinterest, there's LinkedIn, there's YouTube, there's, I mean,
Apple iTunes.
Everything. IGTV, who's here today. I mean, just, it's insane how many platforms there are to present your brand, right? What do you believe is one of the best platforms to market your brand?
Again, so there's organic and then there's paid. So if you're trying to go on the organic side, I would say the highest conversions right now is if you're going for paid, if you're going for paid, right now what we're finding is highest conversions is Instagram stories.
Okay.
If you're doing paid Instagram stories, there's more swipe ups than on any other channel. It's less pay-per-click, it's a lot more exposure. So if you're trying to tell a good story and a build up for something, I would go Instagram and Facebook stories.
And this stuff is still fairly cheap in comparison
so cheap.
to, right?
So
like,
cheap.
I remember one time, a long, long time ago, it was really cheap to have Google AdWords and be number one on Google, because no one's really paying attention to it. And so I often tell people, be careful, because one day those prices, they're gonna realize the value on those prices, and they're gonna start bumping up and bumping up and bumping up, and your cost per click or your cost per conversion is gonna raise to a really high level. Right? So what are some other great ways to really, truly market yourself once you've branded yourself? Once you know what your brand is, what are some of the best ways to get it out there? Other than Instagram stories and Facebook,
I would
what are some other ways?
You know, I met this guy, and I'm not going to say his name, but he wants to meet with me, and I'm really not trying to meet with him because I know it's like a waste of time. So anyways, I'm nice. I go, I meet with him anyways. He goes, James, I've been following you around. I want to know everything you're doing. What are some of the best realtors? What are all the different ways you can market your business? And I go, and I look at him and he's, and I see him and I go, let me ask you a first question. First question first. Do you market to your database? Are you sending an email once a month? Once every 2 weeks? And he goes, no, not really. I'm like, dude, there's no point talking about any kind of incredible marketing without having an email database that's automated, and you do that every 2 weeks, once a month. You got to be touching your database. Lori said it. It's just a pro thing to have. Now,
I'm insane. Who here, hoorah, if you get emails from me? Give me a hoorah. Right? How many emails do you get from me? Am I obnoxious yet? Yeah, but you know who the fuck I am, don't you? Right? And so that's the exact point. People are so often worried about getting emails out to people, and they're worried about spamming them, and they're worried. Don't worry about that. They don't care. They're going to see your name, and they're going to hit delete, and they're going to see your name, and they're going to click the little checkbox, and they're going to join your email with every other junk email they got, and they're going to hit delete. What's important is that they saw your name.
Yeah, and it's free, almost.
Almost.
Practically free to send out an email. And
I think MailChimp, if you have less than 2,000 contacts, it's free.
The statistics still say 17% of your database will either refer you or do another transaction with you.
Dude, thanks so much for doing this with me, man. I really appreciate it, man. Give this guy a round of applause, man.